Hi guys, so rather than spend any more airtime on someone following me, to cheer myself up, let's talk about something different. So, AD, what's going on now? What's going on? Hold on, let me get this right. So he did a show just now, and he's getting letters from Chris Watts, emails from Chris Watts, right? Through Blair, or is it directly to AD now? He says that this woman Kim isn't getting any messages from Chris Watts, but he is. Why would that be? I wonder. Why would Chris Watts be sending him emails? And why do we never see those emails? And if we do, why is his name spelt wrong? Why is it not in the correct format? All this kind of stuff. But anyway, AD says he doesn't do any videos about other creators while he's talking about Kim. Now, I don't know this Kim person, but she's got his back up, hasn't she? Anyway, he says he's in contact with Cindy and Chris Watts, right? So they're friends now of his, and they are supporting him. But he speaks to Chrissy. I'm just trying to get my head around this. He's speaking to Chrissy, and Chrissy's no longer with Dylan, the person she's never met and got engaged to, a man who has sort of got a felon career. What? So now they're not together. So hold on, all the players in this are quite difficult to decipher. The Ruseks are graciously and brilliantly being themselves. Says a lot, guys, when someone is just themselves and being truthful. You don't have to keep backpedaling. You don't have to keep making things up. You don't have to keep trying to cover your back, do you? You don't have to keep up with the lie, because you don't see them making huge amounts of effort to do anything like that, because they don't have to. They're just living their life, grieving the loss of their family, and generally living their life, being good people. Yet, people who aren't living their life and aren't good people, you can see the massive amount of effort they go to try and involve themselves in other people's lives. As if sort of vicariously they exist through other people. And there's a few people that do that in this community as well. And so, hold on, right, so Chrissy is split with Dylan. Dylan, her ex, is now saying that she wasn't attacked, that it was all made up. AD says that she was attacked. She was raped. Well, not raped. Well, nearly raped. So she was nearly raped. And I love the way he bandies that word around. She was nearly raped. Apparently, she said she wasn't. And she got a black eye. No one ever saw a black eye. And there's no record of her at hospital or the police or anything like that. Does she still have police protection? Because a lot of people go around saying they have police protection. It seems to be a very easy thing to do. Apparently you can just get police protection. And then AD says she was only saved because of her phone, alarm on her phone. But she says it was a watch. So which was it, AD? An alarm on her phone or a watch? Because apparently you were giving a few of them away or something. Anyway, so Dylan and Chrissy now are at war. Dylan used to be best friends with Chris Watts. But now, Chris Watts and Dylan, they came to blows as well, because Dylan, I don't know, there was something between them. Because Dylan supports AD and Chrissy supports AD, but yet Chris Watts says he doesn't support AD, he supports Kim. AD says that Chris Watts was forced into that, to saying that, but actually he's sending AD secret messages in code, numbers. So CW is sending AD messages in code, and so therefore him and Dylan can't be like brothers anymore, can they? Brothers in Vaseline, may I say. And then Dylan and Chrissy have come to blows as well, because they're in different camps now. And none of this has to do with the Ruseks, does it? Brilliantly, the very family who are at the devastating epicenter of this tragedy, holding up everything for the grace and good people. The others are just going around in a storm, because if they stop, they're rumbled, right? They have to keep you moving. They have to keep you going from one thing to the other, so you don't take a breath and go, hold on a minute, he said this last week. They're constantly moving on to new drama. just so that you don't notice it. You're just swayed, you're taken into another thing and then another thing and another direction before you've got time to breathe. And the only way to spot this is to step back and take a breath if you're one of his subs and go, how can that... So, in AD's world, everyone is at war now. So there's Cindy, there's Chrissy, there's Blair, there's Dylan, there's Chris Watts, and AD, and I'm sure there's another couple of players in there, Shannon or something like that. And they're all at odds with each other now, right? Have I got this right? So Dylan and Chrissy aren't together. Dylan and Chris are in different camps now. Chris was forced into saying he doesn't support Armchair Detective, but he supports Kim. And so therefore Dylan and Chris Watts are in different camps, right? Cindy is in AD's camp. She apparently is a good friend of AD now. When did this happen? And then Chrissy, I don't know what she's going to do now. Where do they go with that story? But what side who's Blair on then? What's Blair doing? So Blair is in contact with Chris Watts, because is Chris Watts talking to the Armchair Detective through Blair? But Kim says that Blair hasn't been in contact, that Chris Watts took Blair off the list ages ago. And also, if Blair is talking to Chris Watts and Chris Watts is anti-Armchair Detective or friends with Armchair Detective, what's her role now? What's going on? The lies and the lies and the lies, and the abuse of social media is insidious in these people. It's like they're neurologically wired to be like this, to abuse any system they can to get financial benefit or fame, either one. It's quite extraordinary the lengths people will go to when they're lying. The effort, you can see it, it's palpable. You can see it oozing out of them, because it takes a lot of effort to act like that. A lot of effort. Whereas, a person who doesn't go around lying and ducking and diving all the time, they're just pretty normal, and just, there's not so many extremes, These extremes, this high drama on the Armchair Detective channel. Daily, high drama. One thing is discovered, then another thing is discovered. And some days, Ozzy, come here. We ran after a cyclist. Here he is. Oh, can't see his face. What's he doing, Oz? The road is closed, just so you know, so there's no traffic. So the high drama is normally an indication that nothing much is invested in any story, because they change so quickly. If Armchair Detective ages ago had received letters from Chris Watts, the 400 he said he had, 300, well, maybe not 300, he had one. And if there was a friend, and if Blair is an insider, and if they did have Mr. Kessinger on the phone, all this kind of stuff, do you not think that they would have followed that through and it wouldn't be forgotten the next day? But somehow it magically is forgotten, because then another story comes up. Now, how are all these people in this situation constantly at blows with each other? Why is everything changing so rapidly? Why are the planets all moving in a different way every single day? Because it's not real. It's a lie. The story about Chrissy getting attacked and nearly raped, apparently at the time, well, not apparently, at the time, AD said it was because trolls. So at that point in time, that was AD's narrative, that he was getting trolled so badly that something happened in his hometown and he was scared for his life, and he had the dog sitting by the door in case the police come through the windows. So that had to be involved in the whole Chrissy scenario. So apparently she got attacked due to trolls. And then that went out the window, and something else has appeared. And this person, Blair, who accidentally put the camera on themselves, and in no way did they look like how Armchair Detective described them. They looked like. And then the narrative changes again. at the moment, the trolls have taken a back seat for AD because he's got more important stories to do, like Chris Watts emailing him. Now, subs, why would Chris Watts be emailing the armchair detective? Out of everyone in his team, his lawyers, blah-de-blah-de-blah, why would he be contacting a man in a flat, sitting there, gambling and faking and scamming people? Why would he do that? What is there to say? What do you think, subs? Sorry about this. What do you think, subs, that AD is finding out or saying? He keeps saying that something is going to happen, that he's going to read something out later and it's mind-blowing and it's going to solve the case. And he said that for the last 3 years. And so his subs dive onto Patreon because, of course, you have to pay for this information. And then nothing is really given, is it? It's because it's a lie. There's nowhere else to go. He can't follow a story through to the end because there isn't one. So he has to find a new story every single day. It amazes me that people are still somehow believing half of this. And the truth channels have been so incredible. And they're so relaxed. And it's so real. You know, when you look at the Armchair Detective channel that he's now saying is entertainment, it's high drama. It's manic over there. Manic. The amount of desperate pleas to be believed, desperate pleas to prove how the Armchair Detective needs something from you to be able to release this information. The Armchair Detective is doing you a favour. You know, he spends hours and hours at work doing this channel, researching for you. You know, oh, gosh, it's just terrible for him. When in actual fact, he set up his channel. He is in control of everything. He doesn't have a job. And he's researching nothing apart from making up more and more scams. If anyone does believe that Chris Watts is writing to the Armchair Detective, please comment on my channel. Let me know. Let me know. And I'd love to know why you think that. And for what purpose? What purpose would Chris Watts be contacting the Armchair Detective in code for? And if he's now writing to him emails, why would he have done it in code in the first place a day ago? There you go. There you have it. Chris Watts was contacting the Armchair Detective channel in code, in numbers that they found out to be biblical paragraphs. A day later, Chris Watts is just emailing the Armchair Detective channel, quite normally. So it changes from one thing to the other, as you can see, and all it takes is a breath and a step back to go, this is just ridiculous. It's not entertainment, it's torment for the real people. Ozzy, come here. For the real people in this, torment to cheapen the reputation and the memory of their family, to even have this bloke mention their names must be horrific. And to bring this back to what I'm going through as well, to have my name come out of the person's mouth who is following me and invading my life daily makes me feel sick. And I haven't even had anyone who's passed away from this, you know, from such a tragedy. Every time that Armchair Detective, oh, look at this, isn't this gross? Like, you walk down a country lane and look, cans, piles of cans, because the people here had no legs, right? They couldn't, or they just couldn't. The rubbish fairies were going to take it away, weren't they? The rubbish fairies. There you go. Those lovely rubbish fairies that pick up trash after people. Just to go off on a real tangent, I was on a train a couple of years ago in London, and this couple, young couple, just sat in front of me, like, plonked themselves down, and then threw their water bottles on an empty seat across the way past me. And I went, mate, how old are you? Pick your water bottle up and put it in the bin. You're not a baby. And they did not know what to do. So because they couldn't answer back, because what they'd done is just plain lazy, disrespectful, and they were acting like babies. If you're going to chuck your rubbish, you're a baby. So they went across and they sort of had this look. Because they couldn't say anything, didn't know what to do. Ozzy, come here. There's not supposed to be any traffic. The road is closed, so I have to get hold of him. Ooh, keep him safe. Oh, I've just stepped in a puddle. Lovely. There we go. He's going to bark now and jump up at me, because that's what he does. He doesn't like change. Yes, so they couldn't say anything, this young couple, so they sat there with this look on their face. Because they were just boiling over with anger that they'd been caught out, and they had really been caught out, and they were acting stupid. Ozzy, come here, come here. So they just kept looking at each other, and then they started to text each other, and then looking up at me and go, sneering at me. And I went, what is it? What is it? If you've got something to say, you can say it. I just don't think that you should be throwing your rubbish around a train. You are an adult. You can pick up a water bottle and put it in a bin, which is just there. And they could not handle it. You know, when you pick up on bad behaviour, everyone says don't say anything, or, you know, you don't want to rile these people. But if we all don't speak up, if you don't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything, right? And we've got to keep speaking up, especially as women, right? We're always told to shut up as women, not say anything, to just be good, you know. And then we're punished when we do. If you look at most scenarios, the woman is always the one who gets blamed in the end. And that's not to say all women do it. Okay, it's, you know, that's a generalization. There are wonderful women in the world, the best ever. So yeah, going back to AD, when you AD protects himself, right? If AD is the water bottle thrower on the train, he protects himself so no one can get at him. He never engages with his subs. His subs can't personally get hold of him. He doesn't engage with other creators. He doesn't go on other panels. He just hides, because that's what cowards do. They hide. They sort of scoot around in the wings, backstage, social media, and just sort of float around there watching, and never actually engage, which is another incredible sign that someone is a coward and that they're lying, because they don't want to face anyone. As soon as a question is asked, that person is either blocked or it's skirted around, or worse. And it's the same with the person who's following me around. They won't talk, they won't acknowledge any real questions, they won't acknowledge reality. It just has to stay fantasy in their head. Otherwise, then what? What would this person do if their beef was resolved? Then what would they do? Would they have to go onto another target? Would they spontaneously combust? Now that's a video, spontaneous combustion. Can you remember that was really, really big in the 80s? It was fascinating. Apparently people just spontaneously combusted and no one had heard of it before. And then in this book, actually the first book, here's a question. What is the first trigger or the first thing that you read or watched or heard about? Ozzy, come here, stay. That got you into true crime or more mystery stuff, like The Mysterious Scoop, or, you know, things towards that direction. What was it? Ozzy, come here, stay. I know mine was an Arthur C. Clarke book, and it was something to do with ghosts and strange happenings and, you know, mysterious things like stigmata and the nun that cried tears. It was terrifying, petrifying. Oh, I've scared myself now. Gotta check around, there's no nuns. You know, they do tend to pop up. That was my one, and it just triggered my imagination. I was like, wow, you know, weird things in the world. And then from that point onwards, the more sort of extreme, interesting, mysterious parts of life fascinated me. Stories, you know, and real things that no one could explain. And I guess part of the interest in people that behave the way that AD does, or indeed my follower does, is it's so against the grain. It's so abnormal. It's fascinating. It's trying to understand why these people do that. The same as, I guess, why we wonder why Chris Watts did what he did. Because it's abnormal, and I guess because we feel that we knew and loved Shanann because of all the social media posts, that we feel a little bit more invested. But it's not rubbernecking as such. It's looking at how on earth this happened. And it's the same with AD, I think. I don't understand how and why his obsession and investment in this tormenting of this family is continuing, and how he feels about it. Wouldn't you just love to get to the bottom of someone like that? Oh God, that sounds awful. No, I don't want to get to the bottom of that person. That's a horrific image, and I'm going to take that right back. Take it back. Ozzy, come here. Come here. Checking for nuns. Yes, trying to understand why people do that, because they'll never tell you why, because they won't engage at all. So they stay on this sort of pedestal, feeding you the narrative they want you to see. Especially AD, he sees what you want, what he wants you to see. And of course, some people believe that. It's quite astonishing. So yes, investment and lying. It's big business, apparently, on YouTube. And YouTube, that's another story. YouTube are culpable for allowing these people to have this platform. It's quite unbelievable that it's allowed to continue, isn't it? That no steps are taken, nothing, to stop these people. And you can report or whatever, and YouTube just aren't interested. Maybe because it makes them money. Anyway, I've been blabbing on. But yes, let me know what your first trigger was for true crime, the story. I've been reading again recently about, I reread Juan Martinez's book about Jodi Arias. Every time the fascination is still there. I mean, it's got to be one of the most extraordinary stories, not only because of what occurred, but how she behaved throughout. And you never saw this person break, really. And in a way, even prison doesn't seem like it scares her. In a way, regardless of where Jodi Arias would be in her life, she would still be acting the same way. It's very, very interesting. And maybe that's another video, because still so much to say about her. Anyway, let me know, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.